Boom. Great things, everyone tuning in from this beautiful plain Hurt. Janik here, your host for the next few minutes. We will keep studying our positive reinforcement from PTD axis. Yeah. The elephant in the room. The elephant in the room. Apparently, it's going crazy in Ukraine. I saw that. Russia has apparently invaded Ukraine, according to mainstream media. Yeah, not surprising. Not surprising. It was to be expected. I think they're always into creating some kind of madness, so it's nonstop. It's a network of shared madness. So it is what it is. Elephant in the room. It's dark stuff. Uh, I'm not focusing on that stuff. I try to no, exactly. So setting the record straight. There is only one elephant in the room. Only one elephant in the room for anyone here. For anyone anywhere. Sorry. And that elephant is their future. This life, death, and afterlife, and so forth. Much bigger than the past they can remember, or the fleeting present. The biggest thing, which everyone ignores, like it doesn't exist. If one refuses to acknowledge there is a thing called the future, in fact, show a finger to it when it enters one's consciousness, the future cannot be good. No surprises there. When the future sticks the finger back to them, the whole bravado vanishes quite quickly. The whole bravado. Future. Future is future. Phuture. P who turns energy spiral. So basically, P the axis is future. If one has no concern for future, one will have no hesitation in ignoring P. How many in this world are really concerned for their future is seen easily in this light. Yes, seen easily in this light. What I'm reading is what's on the screen. Teachings. I found its teachings worth sharing. Yeah. Teachings worth sharing. Peace Gita scripture for the now by Prashant P.T. Trivedi. Large up PT. Nothing to be said. Nothing. There is nothing to be said to beings who don't care about the future of their own self-being. The only voice they will get to hear is that of the consequences. Yes, the consequences. A state of constant surprise. Yeah. There are too many here that think they are some invincible supreme being who will face no consequences for their action. Funnily, when the consequences arrive, like the vomiting and nausea, after boozing, they're all well surprised. They are surprised each and every time any consequence come back at them for their actions, which are, of course, done without any real knowing. Sums up the whole muggle world kindergarten society out there. A constant state of surprise and bewilderment. How did things go so bad suddenly? Consequences. Consequences. Most people do what they do only because they simply do not know the consequences of what they do. If they did know the concentric sequences that follow, most would not do the deeds they do. That's why knowledge of consequences is the real knowledge, the real seeing of seers. Sorry. Burping my coffee. Principal operating system. Yes, my people. Life is but a joke. Is the principal operating system of most on this planet. Of course, some beings stick their principle more than others, thus, only some are on the front line. Whether on the front line or back line, there has to be a conscious decision to fully uninstall the principal operating system and properly install a new future-centric one. Life is serious business with serious consequences. Yeah. The fact people have a habit of projecting their notions and part knowledge as facts, but in reality, they don't know a single fact worth knowing. I think I'm going to repeat this one. People have a habit of projecting their notions and part knowledge as facts, but in reality, they don't know a single fact worth knowing. A real fact is one which helps get one out of hell and break out of the 3D matrix. If only they could admit they don't really know any fact, they could at least begin on the path of learning facts. Stairway to Heaven. Stairway to Heaven. Only real stairway to heaven is the stairway of facts. Facing facts, reiterating facts, speaking facts. Yeah. Sticking to facts. Facts, fact, fact, fact. Fact. After so many times, I lose the pronunciation, I guess. So sticking to facts. With facts, just perceiving them is not good enough. Sticking to them in speech and action is much more important. Action speaks louder than words. Yeah. Facts. Facts, real spelling, PH act. So acts, act, yeah. Done as per P, the axis that sees it all for what it is. The one and only disease. On the surface, there appear to be many diseases plaguing beings on this planet. Lotus Ocean, however, sees only one disease, which is not being able to state the obvious truth. Not being able to state the obvious truth. People lie to each other about each other's state every day, trillions of times. Straightforward speaking out of obvious perception is looked down upon like a cardinal sin. Petty egos have to be saved, blushes at all cost. This vow of never speaking out of truth leads to real dis-ease within the self and then the world. If people just practice speaking what is as is, without crazy agendas, all diseases are sure to disappear. Evil was only born from not wanting to speak of the obvious divinity of divine. Praise facts. Acknowledging facts, speaking facts, reiterating facts is what automatically leads to praise of higher and divine. So I'm going to repeat it, this one, because it's kind of very important. Acknowledging facts, speaking facts, not facts, but fact. Yeah. Reiterating facts is what automatically leads to praise of higher and divine. So if one can simply roll along with facts flow, one cannot praise either and one will devolve. Yeah. Mute idols and living God. Yeah. I think Gavin's leaving. Yeah. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. So mute idols and living God. After playing around with mute idols for millennia, the masses are not ready for a living God. They would rather have a mum empty idol who doesn't answer back, who they can treat in any which way. Put in any kind of dingy cage, throw any kind of stuff at, ask any kind of unwholesome favors. The living God is a passionate force, too hot for them to handle in their insincere ways. In their insincere ways. God and pain. God and pain. One of the biggest misconceptions: God is in everyone, everywhere, everything. How God is not in everything can be understood in many ways. There is a scientific way, a psychological way, and a consciousness way. These ways are all ultimately connected. The best and most simplest way, however, is to understand it in terms of pain and painlessness. For example, God doesn't exist in PlayStation, which at the end of the day lowers consciousness and brings pain to the players in terms of physical and astral. You see, God is not into pain and godliness. And godliness is a state of conscious painlessness. Realms of pain, torture, and karmic bondage having nothing to do with God. The real God never intended creation to be like that. Ultimately, all is one. Yes, you ask. I say no. These kinds of assumptions only suit the evil demiurge plan at the end of the day. People think that all is one and consequently they are accepting of everyone as they are, which in the end plays straight into the hands of the manipulators. They want you to accept them, and in doing so, suffer at their hands. That's exactly what's happening. For example, a female with this mindset and logic will go ahead and sleep with any male because, after all is one, and what's the harm? As a result, her vibrations go down further and the spider webs tighten. This attitude doesn't allow one to break from this matrix of pain. All is connected is a more apt statement than all is one. A good education tool to teach people the effect of actions. The multiverse emanated from the one. In time, the energies of certain levels of this multiverse were manipulated to create something ungodly, pained, become painful, full of pain in course of time. And in these ungodly realms, more and more artificial stuff keeps on getting created. Bionic robots, clones, soulless android. There exist realms which have no pain, emotional, psychological, or physical. There, everything is godly because they maintain connection with the Divine One at all points. The beings which deliberately sever that connection create ungodly realms, which are not part of the One, simply because they don't adhere to the One's specification for creation. Such creations obviously involve a whole lot of pain and torture and work on maxims like no pain, no gain. So you can understand godliness as a kind of way, not a thing or substance. Most of this 3D physical realm on this planet is not functioning by that way, and thus is not godly. What physical and psychological pain is can be understood scientifically, and that's where true science like sacred geometry comes in. So, yes, everything is not God. There is a moving away from God. And that's why there is pain. The Santa Claus notion. There are many here who feel that God is a being whose sole purpose is by fulfill their desires, no matter how bad, infringing those wantings are, for other beings or nature, that they are against divine laws. Should not matter either. Their wants and likes are primary. Rest is secondary, including God. God as a playful observer who always sides with those who exist in accordance with divine laws doesn't sit well with their God as Santa Claus, bearing Candy's notions. They say that's why many people don't believe in God anymore, because it doesn't cater to their crazy, unwholesome whims and fancies, like the evil system does. It's surprising, though, that they are still not happy in the evil system, suicidal or close to it in most cases, as they continue their tirade against God, divine, whatever. God misimage. In the so called West, hold on, I'll be back in just a second. Okay. In the so called West. So, yeah, God's misimage. In the so called West, it is God. It is not a sullen looking being with a crown of thorns. It is a dreary looking old uncle with Santa like white beard, spewing boring dialogues. Basically, anything which female cannot feel attraction towards. If females get dissociated with God, society automatically will. A very fine way of reducing interest in God, make it seem boring as compared to evil. A God that is youthful, sexy, blissful, interesting beyond imagination, intelligent, playful, fun, rocking, would completely upturn the whole edifice. Their hellish world stands out. Vedic conception of God was always embodied by the Krisht archetype, the alluring enchanter, the lover, the pelayer, because that's what God, divine, is, a role which evil has been trying to play unsuccessfully. Gods of their liking. Yeah. Let me check if I'm even live. So, yeah. So, beautiful day, beautiful day. Give thanks. Here, some other parts of this world. It's not a beautiful day in the world because a lot of people are suffering. Like, this is also the. It's a beautiful day in my head. Even that. There's so much chaos in this world. So much chaos that it's hard to. Live. Okay, it says live. Okay, yeah, it is working. It looks like it because there's nobody in the chat. So I want to make sure that the mic is working. Test one, two. Test one, two. Yeah, it's better if I talk a little bit closer, like this. Maybe if we talk a little closer without yelling or speaking too loud. Yeah, just keep it nice. Maybe if we talk a little closer without yelling or speaking too loud. Yeah, I find it's better if I speak closer to the mic. Doing some tests here. Yeah, I find it's better if I speak closer to the mic. Yes, yes, yes. Closer to the mic. So, gods of their liking. In Barat, the land of deities. Yes, yes, yes. Closer to the mic. So, gods of their liking. In Barat, the land of deities. Okay, good. Perfect. We'll keep going. Hold on. Just gonna shut the volume off there. Okay, I'm here. Good. Perfect. So, in Barat, the land of deities, and no matter where one looks, one finds pictorial representation of the Trinity, especially Shiv and Vishnu. That's not a bad thing in itself. But for the fact that they all look like fat shopkeepers, talk about making God in your image or your desired state's image, or simply your liking and convenience. In the last 100 years, one can see these representation change from leaner to fatter. Not surprising in a decaying culture which sees chubbiness as a sign of prosperity and fattiness as the emblem of personality. The female deities are all based on faces and physiques. Sorry. Of popular Bollywood actresses. Even the representations from the West convey more deity like qualities simply because they don't suffer from the worship of plump Bollywood stars. If this is what is being worshipped, one is not surprised by the results. Pictorial human representation of deities belonging to other dimensions is a subtle, tricky process, requiring coming together of the best of everything, not the pandering to the convoluted program aspiration of the lowest common denominator. The judges of greatness. The judges of greatness. There is general misconception amongst the masses of this planet that the being is only great if it does not reveal its own qualities, instead allowing others to reveal its qualities. This would make Krishna an incarnation of divine, not a great being as he revealed his own qualities from his own mouth. In a talk now called Bhagavad Gita, yeah. The masses think they are qualified to judge qualities of a soul which is much higher than them in evolutionary status. It is an illogical impossibility. They can never come to know the partial attributes, let alone complete attributes, of a being way beyond themselves. Their conception of great only stretches to what they can perceive. So, what they call great is someone basically at the same level as themselves. In other words, they are great. Would be laughable if not so detrimental to their evolution. Greater than God. Greater than God. Greetings, greetings. If you just join in, my my greetings to the millions of you watching across the earth. Pleasure to see you here. Greater than God. It's funny how most people expect the source, the Most High, to fit their own parameters. So if the source manifests itself into this world and its parameters fall outside of their assigned parameters, then it surely cannot be good. Most people, despite not being absolute experts in any field or absolute expert when it comes to one subject, God, everyone seemed to know what God would be, should be like, if it were to manifest, especially how it will treat them, accept them as they are, while they judge and ridicule it. Those who conclude God doesn't exist at all also have to be geniuses, considering that the all-knowing nature of this conclusion. So it's settled. All the people are greater than God because they have parameters outside of God, while God only has parameters assigned by them, makes one roll on the ground with laughter. We can tell God when we see it. We can tell God when we see it. It's funny how beings here hope to be able to recognize the one, the avatar, the savior, using their own faulty perceptions. Most of them cannot even fathom who is truly higher than them, let alone fathom the highest. They find the media made celebrities to be higher when they are just as lowly as them. Maybe lower even. While some unpretentious villager in the real culture they would define as lower. One needs to have honesty and humility to the divine to be able to see the beauty and marks of divinity. And the humility has to be strong enough to overcome feeling like jealousy and self-loathing when one has seen it. When one has seen it. Blow my nose. Yeah. I think I'm gonna make a fond d'écran, like a font for. We'll be back in 20 seconds, something like that. Yeah, I'll make some kind of banners. Yes, we'll be live with Sam and Cindy tomorrow on the Truman Show. Yeah. So tempos. Tempos. I will publish the thing. I was thinking about the title. I still struggle with the title. It's going to be about solution. Like, let's talk about solution. Parlons solution. But I want to add something else, so I got to think about it. Temples. All the temples of every organized religion on this planet are a fraud. They serve the fat priest, not divine. The only real temple is the temple area of the avatar's head. Holy. The term holy comes from holy. W is silent as always. To be whole is the only way to be holy. Hollywood, not Hollywood. Religion. Religion. When God divine appears in flesh and blood in front of a person and they just run towards a structure called temple, then they are a Hindu. If they run towards a structure called a mosque, then they are a Muslim. If they run towards a structure called a church, then they are a Christian, etc., etc., etc. Religion was about relinking religion with God. Not now it is just linking with unfractal structures of their own making, which have nothing to do with God divine. Even the sanctify of these unfractally built and maintained structures is always being compromised. A really insincere state of affairs. We are in the study of PT's book, Setting the Record Straight. PT, yeah. There is no such thing as yoga. Breaking news, there is no such thing as yoga. This term yoga has now become synonymous with contorting of the body into various shapes. But the truth is that there is no such word. The real word in Sanskrit is yog. Just like Shiva is actually Shiv, Krishna is actually Krishna, Veda is actually Ved, and so forth. Yog simply means union, union with the divine, to be precise. This union takes place through devotion, surrender, praise, and service to the high and divine. It has nothing to do with the asanas, commonly known as asanas, being taught in the West, yoga classes which are now hard to tell apart from aerobics, Aussie style. Act mainly as respectable health and dating centers. Male flocks to see females in posture they won't see them in otherwise. No wonder yoga has caught on like it has to turn into a global corporate entity, which, with yoga drinks, gear, clothing, etc. So it's either yoga or yog, another 21st century choice. How to tell between fake and real gurus? Many in this world are duped by charlatans because they don't seem to be aware of the distinguishing marks, trait, sign of the higher, more divine. Society has only one definition for holy: no sex or sexuality, beauty. All any ugly charlatan has to do is to put on a celibate image to get adoration. However, in this age of cameras, they often get caught. Everyone gets disappointed, and start losing all faith in holiness divine. To clear this up, Luther Chosen state that the more enlightened higher divine can always be distinguished not by their lack of sexuality or age, but by their connection to elements, nature. For example, if a musician plays for rain and the rain happens, that musician is more evolved soul and thus closer to divine. Nature not only follows the will of divinity, but plays with it. In this 3D world, the higher divine is easy to spot through their superior, more graceful sound and light, voice, music, image, and movement. Music, most can see it, even though many might not like to admit to it, through negative feelings like jealousy. Also, the enlightened, the enlightened will always speak clear, precise truth. Clear, precise truth, without any fear of the repercussion, unlike charlatans who speak to please, who say mumbo jumbo which doesn't make any sense, and spin people around in circles. Spin people around in circles. Lots of misleaders out there. The truth is that these fake gurus don't know the truth. They don't even know about the truth of this world, let alone other worlds. The enlightened don't wear fake smiles like the fake gurus of today, who resemble news readers in putting on cringy fake smiles. The happiness of the higher divine is real and comes from real knowing of their own divinity and the ability to navigate their soul after death. And while here they live fractal lives, and while here they live fractal lives, everything falls into place perfectly in whatever they do. The cow. And I'll finish with that, I think. Those who cannot respect the cow, whose milk they drink, cannot respect earth, which is akin to a cow, in fulfilling our needs. No question of them respecting God, God or divine either. People hoping to find love, peace, and happiness, contentment and evolution, while killing and eating cows are under serious delusion. In the end, they would meet a cruel fate at the hands of forces of divine. The holy cow. Finish with the cow. Holy cow, a widely used expression, unfortunately, not put in practice by majority of this planet. There is no doubt that cow is the supreme amongst all the animals that roam this earth. It is earth itself in a more compact, lovable form. The fact that majority of people drink its milk make it a real mother to all. Still, how this mother is treated by a vast majority of this planet, except parts of Bharat now called India, determines the hellish state those parts of the world have to endure. The blissless pain and torture twilight zone which they are under is a direct result of this mistreatment. I like this. The blissless pain and torture twilight zone which they are under is a direct result of this mistreatment. Until they start treating cows right, they will have all the disease, wars, mental health, and blisslessness. What they do to the cows, they will face back manifold in this life and afterlife. The simple truth and simple action can solve 99% of this world's problem. And humility, the not so human populace here. And humanify, and humanify the not so human population here. Exact. The two cows way. There are two kinds of ways of keeping cows. In one, you let them graze freely. They always come back to you because they have a proper bond with you. You only take as much milk as they freely want to give you. After feeding their calves, you milk them by hand. You keep them in there till their dying day. In the other, you keep them within fences, as they would never come back if you let them go. Put crazy stuff in their food to make them give more milk. Squeeze as much milk as you can through machines. Kill them when they stop giving milk. No point pointing out which way is better. The difference between these two ways is the difference between human and barbarian demonic. Yeah, so I'll come back later, probably, with not all right when not right at all. And we'll keep going with our study of PT's book. So large up, I'm out. See you later.